You won't believe what's about to happen. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, this is not gonna happen. A lot of people are gonna underestimate this. A lot of people are gonna think this isn't that big of a deal. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a big story. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a change moving forward in the regular season and in the playoffs. And why do I say this? Well, first, let's talk about the games from yesterday. The Cavs went up against the Timberwolves, and Cavs win. I mean, the Cavs have beat every single team. They only have like 6 losses. They've been playing really great, and their offense, defense, everything there is amazing. But they went into this game without Evan Mobley, who's a really big part of their team, and you can see their struggles without Evan Mobley, even though they pulled out the win yesterday. But you can see the struggles that they have without him. You can see how important he is to their team, especially to their defense, because in the first quarter, Anthony Edwards came out and he went crazy. Like, he went so crazy from three. I think he had like 3 or 4 threes in the first quarter. He had like 11 points. They ended up calling a timeout. He came back. They were still scoring. He was still scoring. Like, they had no answer for Anthony Edwards for a long time. And Rudy Gobert was super dominant in this first half. He had like 9 rebounds in the first half. And I'm telling you, without Evan Mobley, and you just put Gobert versus Jared Allen, it becomes a crazy matchup for the Cavs. Like, it actually becomes work now that they have to put in. Not that they don't put in all the time, they don't put in work, but it's just that, like, it's extra stuff you have to do now because Mobley isn't there. Mobley takes care of a lot of things as well, and there's a lot of things that Mobley takes off of Allen's shoulders and helps out the team. But yesterday they didn't have that. They didn't have that in their disposal, and they couldn't use that to their advantage, and that was the issue. But didn't seem like to be an issue for long, because the third quarter came, and oh my God, this Cavaliers team went crazy. Now, mind you, I understand that the Timberwolves did not have Dante. I understand he is a big part of their team. I understand, especially part of like the backcourt and defense and all that stuff. I understand he's great because Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland had 36 and like 29 each. Donovan Mitchell was killing them. He couldn't miss. And then the defense for the Timberwolves just kind of fell apart at the end of the third quarter. Like, the Cavs went on a crazy run at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth quarter, and they were unstoppable. And it was just like a 15-point lead that they opened up, and the Timberwolves just couldn't bounce back. They tried to fight back. They tried to push and, try to get back in the game. The most they cut it to was like 6 points, I think it was, and it was not enough. Like, the Cavs pushed back, and the Cavs went on another run. This was a game of runs for the most part, and the Cavs just had the better run, and they had the better defense, and they were able to sustain it, and they won the game. Like I said before, Anthony Edwards, 28 points. Everybody else in the Timberwolves performed. Naz Reid looks so great on this offense that they're running right now, and defense. I mean, his threes are unstoppable. He even gets to the basket a couple of times. Like, he looks so great on this team, and he obviously grown and developed a lot from last year to this year, especially from the last 2 years to this year, and partially is because just doors open up more. Now, Celtics go up against the Hawks, and this was the game that I thought the Celtics were going to come and win. I thought the Celtics were going to come here and dominate. I thought the Celtics were going to come here and just destroy the Hawks. And mind you, I know the Celtics have been playing like shit. I completely understand, but I thought they were going to come here and actually perform and play at a very high level and just do great. And for the most part, they kind of did. Like, their 3-point percentage was great. They went 20 for 42. They shot what they usually shoot. And the credit goes to the Hawks. You beat the Celtics while the Celtics made 23s. Not many teams can do that. And why did this happen? Because the Celtics made just stupid turnovers. They had a good game, just dumb turnovers. Now, mind you, Jason Tatum didn't get his first bucket till like the end of the first quarter. And then Jaylen Brown was going crazy. He started off the first quarter with like 7 points. And then second quarter, they were still down going into the half by 4 points. Third quarter comes and the Celtics were still down, but then they push. And mind you, at the end of the first, Celtics were up by 12. But then, I don't know what happened. Second quarter, Hawks just fight back, and it was a 31-point quarter for the Hawks, a 15-point quarter for the Celtics, and this is how the Celtics gave up the lead, the 12-point lead, and that's why I say like they were still down, because even though the Celtics were up by 12, it didn't feel like the Celtics were dominant. And yes, this was another game of runs, but the Celtics just weren't dominant defensively. They weren't able to stop too much that the Hawks had going on. Now, mind you, I know they had Porzingis out, I know they had Horford out, but this is the Boston Celtics. We've seen them play defense without those two. We've have Drew Holiday. They have, you know, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Like, let's not act like because Porzingis and Horford are out that this team should be like bad. But it's just a couple of turnovers that they should not have made. A couple of turnovers, especially down the stretch, they shouldn't have made, because in the third quarter, the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, I think they won a 16-4 run, and then the Celtics just gave it up. The Celtics built up another 10-point lead, but then they just, like I said, gave it up. Why? Turnovers, just dumb turnovers. And the way they actually got both leads in the game was forcing turnovers on the Hawks. They got steals. They were forcing missed shots. They were forcing just dumb plays from the Hawks and Trae Young. And then we get to the fourth quarter, and like I said, a lot of dumb plays, a lot of, you know, just silly turnovers down the stretch. You would have thought this team is still trying to figure each other out. You wouldn't have like watched this team down the stretch and thought to yourself, this is a championship team. There's just a lot of dumb plays. Jason Tatum missed a clutch free throw. Jason Tatum missed a couple of clutch shots. And I feel like they should have played through Jaylen Brown down the stretch. Trae Young, super clutch. They fouled him with a 2-point deficit, and he hit both free throws, clutched up. Like I said, Tatum missed, and then we get to overtime, and the Hawks just cooked them in overtime. It was like a 15 to 11 point difference in overtime. And I know that sounds not that bad, but 4 points in overtime, a 4-point difference is crazy. The Celtics did have, I think, one timeout left, and they chose not to call it to try to draw up a play. And it was really bad. Like, a lot of just little mistakes that matter in the game that the Celtics did not take advantage of, and that came back to hurt them in the long run. We had the Suns go up against the Pistons. Now, look, this is going to be the difference that I did not think it was going to happen. This was going to be the difference maker moving forward. Nick Richards came in 21 points, 11 rebounds in the first game with the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant 36, Devin Booker 35. This team is starting to develop itself. I know that sounds crazy, but this team is starting to get back on the right track, and you just have to give them some time. Be patient with this team and just let them do what they have to do. I'm telling you right now, Nick Richards on this team is going to change a lot of things moving forward. The Suns might be able to make a deep playoff run if Nick Richards is starting, and you know, you have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and one or two other defenders on the court with Tyus Jones as well, because the amount of great playmaking I saw yesterday, the amount of, you know, just important plays that Nick was making yesterday, and that goes from getting rebounds to scoring, it just so on and so forth. Even like just defensively is an upgrade from any center that the Suns had. Now mind you, Plumlee still started, but to have him come off the bench and give you 21 and 11, if he would have started, it would have been a lot different for the Suns team. They could win. They could string together a couple of wins. Just be patient. I'm telling you, it's going to be a difference maker. This is going to be great. And if the Suns can make one or two more trades before the deadline, we are probably looking at a whole different Suns team with a whole different vibe and energy. And we'll see the true test for Nick Richards moving forward, especially when they play against the Cavs. And that should be the test. We'll see how he does against Jared Allen. If Mobley's back, we'll see how he does against Mobley. But we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you, this could be the difference maker. We'll see. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for coming out to the locker room. This is Real Talk with E.